All right, thanks everybody. Glad to be here today. This is our second year at presenting at the FinDEVr event, and we're super excited to be here and talk about marketplace payments. Today I'm joined by my colleague. I'm Jeff Thornes, founder and CEO of Forte Payment Systems, and I'm joined by my colleague Mithun Patel here on stage, who's going to be running our demo. Our live demo, and then we also have Lee Joe, who has also joined us and who is currently doing booth duties. If you want to connect with either Mithun and I, you can reach us on our Twitter handle right there. On the other hand, if you want to reach Lee, he's a little bit less social, so you're going to have to kind of either come by the booth or track him down by his social security number here if you want to reach out and connect with him. All right, so this time, let's go ahead and move on to the next slide here. Oh, so a little bit about Forte Payment Systems. I would not be surprised if almost all of you have never heard of us before. But we've actually been around the industry for quite some time. We've been providing, we've kind of been that engine behind the scenes, providing solutions to companies just like yourselves that embed payment processing capabilities into their solution. We've been around since '98. In fact, one of our very first customers was PayPal. We processed all of PayPal's ACH transactions for the first 2 years of their existence. Today we serve roughly 27,000 merchants, process about $19 billion a year, and again, it's both ACH and credit card. And the way that we go to market is by partnering with companies like yourselves, developers that provide services to merchants, and so we partner together with our hundreds of partners and go to market. So that's a little bit about Forte. So today we're going to talk a little bit about marketplace payments. And in the previous FinDEVr event, we kind of went into some more of our details as far as some of our solution sets, some of our checkout product, and our ways of minimizing PCI compliance, and things along those lines. But this time around, we thought we would do something a little bit unique with marketplace payments. We wanted to go ahead and create a use case and show you guys, here's this hypothetical situation, and then how can we solve for that, or how can we solve for that use case using the Forte Payment Systems as a partner. So we thought about a couple of different ideas for a use case, a hypothetical use case, and we decided we wanted to go with a competitor to Uber as our use case. And so as part of that use case, we had certain goals that we wanted to place with that competitor. One is that we wanted them to be able to focus purely on that user experience, providing a beautiful experience with connecting riders with drivers, and really rely upon Forte Payment Systems in order to take away a lot of the complexities around the payments. Whether it be collecting the actual fare from the rider, to paying out the drivers for the services that they're providing, all the funding and billing activities, all that type of stuff, the data security, being able to tokenize that information and store it securely, and keep that sensitive data off of the competitors' servers. And so that's kind of the general goal. But we also had the goal that we wanted to have the ability for that company to be able to scale. So with that, we, with scaling, we might, this particular use case probably won't jump into the billion-dollar club, but we definitely wanted to have that capacity where that solution could leverage us in order to scale their business very, very effectively. And so I don't think that our particular use case, again, is probably not going to be worthy of the billion-dollar club here. But with that being said, we really wanted to have we wanted to do some things to make it innovative. We wanted to have some fun with it. And so we decided we wanted to create some differentiators for the service. And so we thought long and hard about some different ideas. How can we really compete against Uber? They've already got Lyft as a competitor, and other folks that are looking to do other solutions. And so rather than going for a direct competitor, we thought, well, maybe we can just kind of carve out a little niche market associated with competing with Uber. And so with that, the concept of Duber was was hatched. And the tagline was, we're looking for the discriminating individual who, cares as much about the ride as they do about the destination itself. And so with FinDEVr, we have a couple other differentiators. First of all, each of our riders will be presented with their choice of Flaming Hot Cheetos or Nacho Cheese Doritos. And along the way on their destination, we're going to stop by each and every White Castle and Jack in the Box along the way to our destination. All right, so with that, what really sets us apart is really what FinDEVr is going to be set apart is with Forte, and really about taking all that pain and the challenges associated with payments and making that process a nice, beautiful experience, not only for FinDEVr, but the drivers as well as the passengers. We want to have that a nice, beautiful experience. And with Forte, that's where we come in. All right, so when talking about a marketplace model versus a traditional model, you might ask, well, what's the difference? What's the big deal about, why is this a challenge? Why do you have to have a special way of handling things in order to support a marketplace model? And I think this will kind of speak to that. So in a traditional model, we have our merchants boarded on our platform. And generally speaking, you have your merchants, you have their customers, you have the customer payment data, you have their address information. And really that information, it's a one-to-many relationship with the merchants. The merchants have those customers, they provide goods or services to those to those customers, the customer pays that merchant. And all the other merchants on our platform, they really don't overlap. They are just, they're siloed. But whereas we get into a marketplace model, we really need to mix things up a little bit. And so with that situation with the marketplace, we really need to have a set of customers that really belong to the marketplace. In this case, we're going to go ahead and call it a merchant. And we all are going to have suppliers or vendors or drivers in our situation that are providing the goods or services to the various customers of the marketplace. And so in our situation, we have FinDEVr as the merchant. We've got Snoop, Matthew, and a few of his buddies as the customers. And then we have our various drivers out there that are part of the FinDEVr network. And so what's unique about this is that we have to have this sharing of information, but not sharing of information. We really want FinDEVr to be able to control the experience. They want to control the funding. They want to control the relationship with the customer. The drivers are the vendors providing the services, and they have a relationship with FinDEVr. And so that's how things are a little bit different with the marketplace model. And so we're going to go ahead and talk through how next up we're going to actually go through a demo of how we would actually implement this. And we'll go ahead and create this actual use case here right now. So in our hypothetical use case, we've got Snoop Dogg, who's coming to Colorado. He's heard a lot about the FinDEVr service and is there on his pilgrimage to sample the local wares. And so he decides to go ahead and download the FinDEVr application. He's going to go ahead and sign up for the service right there, present his payment information, and that information is going to be sent over to Forte, and we're going to tokenize that information, all his payment information, his customer information, and we're going to get that stored in our data vault and associated with the FinDEVr merchant account. Then next up, we're going to have Snoop. He's going to request a ride. FinDEVr is going to dispatch a vehicle to pick him up. Snoop's going to get taken to his destination, and then the driver is going to go ahead and charge for the transaction. So this is where things get a little bit more interesting. So at this stage, what's going to happen behind the scenes, and we'll show this in the actual the demo, the actual guts of the API calls, the RESTful API calls, is that we're going to use the driver's account within the platform in order to charge Snoop for the ride. But we're also going to pass along a service fee. And that service fee is the portion of the overall ride that FinDEVr is going to keep for providing that service. And so whether that's 3%, 5%, $1 plus 2.3%, whatever that formula is, they can make that calculation and make that charge and have it so that our system will automatically pay out both the driver and FinDEVr for their portion of the ride. All right. So then after that, we're going to go ahead. He's going to, after Snoop is finished with his sampling of the local fare, we're going to go ahead and have him request another ride. This time, a different driver is going to show up, and we're going to use that same process to be able to charge Snoop for the ride. And again, the driver is not going to come in contact with that customer information. He's not going to have access to anything other than the ability to make the charge. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn it over to Mithun, and he'll actually walk through some of the actual calls on how this would actually work in real life.
All right, thanks, Jeff. So Snoop has downloaded FinDEVr's app, and he's ready to sign up. I just have a shortcut to go fill out his stuff real quick. And he goes ahead and signs up. What happens behind the scene is FinDEVr servers send all of Snoop's information over to Forte, and Forte then tokenizes all of this information up here and returns it back to FinDEVr. So FinDEVr does not have to save any of the sensitive information over on their servers. They're just going to save Snoop's customer token and his associated payment token. So when Snoop's ready to go ahead and request a ride, and after he's done with his ride, all the driver is going to do is the driver is going to charge Snoop. In this case, it's going to be driver A. So when Snoop's charged, what happens is FinDEVr at that point uses Snoop's customer token and his payment tokens and sends them over along with the total amount and the service charge over to Forte. Then Forte processes that payment, sends FinDEVr their share, and the rest goes to the driver. So let me show that one more time. So all of that comes back, and once the payment is approved, Snoop goes about, finishes what he was doing, requests another ride, comes back, and this time the driver is ready to charge him, and when he's charged 52 this time around, the customer token and the payment tokens are reused over here. And this time, it's passing in a different authorization amount and a different service fee, which is 3% of the total amount. The only thing different between these two REST API calls is the driver's ID. So Forte knows who actually to fund the amount to. So from that perspective, once at the end of the day, if FinDEVr wants to go and see all of the settlements that happened, what they can do is they can fire off a settlement call over to Forte, and that's going to come back saying that this is the settlement amount that FinDEVr got for the first ride. This is the settlement amount that FinDEVr got for the second ride. This is what driver A got right here. And the second one is where driver B, the settle amount is what driver B gets.
And I don't know if you could, I don't know if you can actually see this, but when FinDEVr can actually make calls, can you guys hear me? Okay, there we go. Yeah. When they make the calls on RESTful APIs, you can pull information, transactional history, based on the customer's information. You can do it on a per driver basis. So, everything you see up in the at the URL up there, those are the the parameters that are passing in. So if they want to see all activity for all drivers, they can make that one call and page through that information. Or if they need to make a query and see just the activity for a particular driver, all that information is available and usable. You're able to make those types of calls to make those types of queries.
Yep.
We do have all of our APIs, our documentation. It's on the Forte.net website. You can actually play around in there. You can get yourself a sandbox account and use it and play, to learn about what the capabilities are and and how you would make the calls and what kind of responses you would get back. And we actually have a workbench on there as well, so you can actually key in some hypothetical queries and have it fire off and see what the message would look like going out and what the responses are going to be. So we've got a really robust set of documentation out there that you can get to immediately, no sign-up process of any kind. So with the time allowed left here, I think that we really just wanted to say that this is just one of many, many use cases that we solve for. We are one of the largest ACH processors or electronic check processors in the country. We have solutions for recurring transactions. We have solutions for card-present type solutions, including EMV. We have just a multitude of different capabilities, all of which can be leveraged through our API calls, our REST API calls. In closing, we just we'd love to partner with you guys. I mean, that is our business model. We're here to serve you, if there's anything that we can do, we'd love to have you come by our booth and talk about some of the use cases, some of the things that you're challenging for, trying to solve for, and how we might be able to work together to solve for that. We also have your choice of T-shirts and flaming hot Cheetos or nacho cheese Doritos for your eating pleasure. So with that, I thank you very much, and hope you have a great rest of the show.
Thank you.